Hi guys, 28th of Feb 26. I shall do the housekeeping first. Please can you subscribe for me, and please on Instagram can you please follow me. I am still trying to reach as many people as I possibly can, spreading my word of hope, and that they're not the only one. I used to think I was the only one that ever felt the way that I felt, and it was such a overwhelming feeling to find out that I wasn't. So please, I'd appreciate that. I'm feeling really discouraged today, and I'm thinking it's part and parcel of what happens when one makes a website as such. I've had quite a few changes in my life this last several months, and they've been positive changes, don't get me wrong. They've been really positive changes, and learning to accept, acknowledge and move with those changes sometimes can be really hard. I was going to say traumatic within itself, but I've always likened that word traumatic to not very nice events, and that's not what my changes have been about. Not nice changes, they've been all positive changes. So if anything, learning to accept and move forward with those changes, it's a challenge within itself. It really is. I've been doing this now for about 14 months, around about 13, 14 months, and I want to share about something that I've always felt within myself my entire life. And I've never really shared this with anyone, so I've gone from not sharing with anyone to telling the whole fucking world. I believe it's due to my very, very low, if anything, non-existent self-esteem and self-worth and self-love. It's kind of, you can pick the lowest layer of the lowest whatever, I'm still in underneath the lowest level. And even though there's days that I love clothes, I love the different textures, colours, designs, etc. I've sort of got my own style, and that's okay. It's not about spooking or anything. That's just the way it is for me, and has been so for many years. Just because I might dress nicely doesn't mean I love myself. It doesn't mean that I'm feeling better about myself. It just means that these are the clothes that I'm wearing. Nope, I haven't worn makeup since COVID 2019, and I would really like to get back into the groove of wearing makeup, but that's not specifically what I wanted to share about. With my feelings of such low esteem and growing up in somewhat a dysfunctional family, and always feeling that none of them ever liked me, no one's ever liked me. I go to school, I have those feelings, nobody's ever liked me. I go to high school, I still have those feelings of nobody's ever liked me. I moved to a different town. I've moved a couple of times, stayed 19 years, 20 years in Wagga. Still, that feeling of nobody likes me was with me. I get over here, still, that feeling of nobody likes me is with me. Yes, due to the circumstances, the horrendous circumstances, I will be very honest, that I started with over here has not helped. I have to be really honest. Yeah. I always cry when I get to this. because I still feel the shame and the humiliation and the degradation. And yes, I went down the street before. I had to get some milk for the little puppies, and of course a comment gets made. I just can't get away from it, honestly. I just can't. Where does that hit me? Right in my self-esteem. Right deep in here, in my self-esteem. I shared really, really deeply about what came up for me when I watched a particular show on TV. When this girl had been filmed doing what she was doing, and she was in a blackout. So really, she did what she did. It's very hard to hold someone accountable when they're in a blackout. And obviously not her everyday chosen behaviour. What happened to me being set up God, what do I say? It still really gets me. So if anyone does choose to actually watch anything that I put on, because I really have that feeling that feeling if nobody likes me, and that's why nobody's watching and no one's subscribing and no one's following, that sort of thing. I want to be able to move forward from that shit, and I can't because people won't let me. And when anything like that happens, I'm triggered. Like watching that show, I'm triggered. It happens whether I like it or not. It just happens. I did the housekeeping in the first 5 to 10 seconds. I don't know why I look at the analytics on the computer or on my phone, because if anything, it just makes me feel, again, very unloved and very unliked. I know the topic that I've chosen to share about, not just about what happened here 10 years ago, but the topic itself that I'm sharing about, it's not the nicest of topics. I know that. I get that. Not everybody wants to hear the nitty-gritty, the guts of things like that. They don't want to hear it. People don't want to relate. People don't want to feel those feelings that accompany, the loneliness and the stigma of not being liked, and the stigma of I'm the only one, and the stigma that I don't believe that society accepts people with mental illness. And it really is showing itself on the computer at the moment. For me, that is, for me. Now, this might be all just head stuff that's just rolling in my head. Or not. Something inside of me says, keep going, Tony. Just keep going. Just keep moving forward. Keep doing what you're doing. Things will change and it will get better. I feel like I'm experiencing those growing pains again as to what I felt when I first got clean and sober, and when I first was diagnosed, and then through life itself, the varied triggers that can happen, the varied things that can happen that trigger me, is probably a better way or better term to put it. I get told by a few people, well, the person that I've asked to help me with the computers just said to me straight out, "You've picked the hardest topic, Tony. Out of everything and anything that you can choose, you have literally picked the hardest topic." And that's talking about self, sharing about parts of you that make you feel uncomfortable, as in me. And if I'm feeling uncomfortable in here, but I keep trudging along, it's not going to help you to feel any better. If anything, to be able to relate that you're not the only one that feels this stuff, and that you're not the only one that may have suicidal ideation, through the day, 24/7, whatever it be. The hardest topic. I can only assume that because I'm not following what most other people do, and that's try and choose a character of some sort that will grab your attention straight away. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. And that would be changing me. And that would be changing the base grounding of what I'm trying to achieve here on this particular platform. So I can't jump in here all fake happy and that sort of thing. I can't do that. I can't. I could if I wanted to be fake. I know, don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at anybody else's side. I must admit there are some skit type things that I have watched that I find really quite funny, and I have a good giggle. But the topic that I've chosen, people commit suicide over. They really do. And if anything, these topics that I've chosen to share about are so personal that at times I feel really uncomfortable in here when I'm sharing it. Like, I draw the line. I can say, yes, I've been sexually abused, but I would never go into intrinsic detail on that because that's not appropriate. But it's appropriate to say I've been sexually abused. Now, when I say that, do I feel uncomfortable under my skin? Absolutely. Do I want to run away and cry? Absolutely. Or do I want to stand there and pick up a pole and beat the person over the head? Absolutely. So if I'm feeling uncomfortable and wanting to scram myself, is it any wonder that people will only listen for a few moments and then go? Because that's what the consensus of the analytics, that's what the analytics tell me. I asked, God, this is going to sound like the poor me's, and it's not the poor me's. I'm sharing honestly. And this is a really good topic in the sense that this topic really does affect my esteem, my ability to move forward. And if anything, that question of do I want to keep going? I do want to keep going. I do. That was really hard yesterday, asking people, can you please support me? Please help me, because I can't do this on my own. No response. No response at all. That's the part I find really hard. And if anything, it really proves, it truly proves what society or people feel about mental health. You know, society-wise, on the forefront, you know, I'm always here to talk, I'm always here to listen, you know, speak if your voice shakes, all that sort of stuff. And I'm doing that 24/7 on here. I'm doing that 24/7 on here. And the reflection or the response in the media, not the media, I'll rephrase that, on this platform is exactly the same as what it is in society. I'm answering my own question. I would be a crazy, extra crazy person to think somehow that people would appreciate or even like what I'm doing here. And that's really hard. That is really, really hard. I really feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I really do. Because if anything, I know I need this so I can keep moving forward, so that I'm able to continually confront the issues that come up for me. But as I shared yesterday, I can't do this on my own. I can't. It's really, really hard with my certain diagnosis to put my hand out and ask for help. It really is. Because I still have that fear of what people are going to think about me, because they still think that way about me. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And how I grow up and how I'm treated by and or respected by or not respected by my siblings as I'm growing up, that will show amongst the people that I'm around, be it in recovery, what I call recovery, be it anywhere really, anywhere. It doesn't matter where I go, it doesn't matter what I do. I go into whatever that experience is with this, they don't like me. No one likes me. And I don't know if that's just coming from my head or if that is specifically a learned behaviour or my esteem, just where I'm at with my esteem. It's really hard. It is really, really hard to change that. To be able to move forward. I was asked a couple of days ago, Tony, do you have anybody that can support you, you know, outside of your home? Do you? And I had to say no, because I don't. Even though I can read those little blurbs on people's Facebook sites, I've had my moments of trying to reach out and trying to talk and then getting told I don't want to hear it. That's really hard. That's really hard. Because within a very short time frame after that, I tried to take my life. Now, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not. And I'm not here to poke holes at people or to send a certain message to people. That's not my intention here. It would just be nice, you know, my dearest friend that I met when I was kindergarten, you know, we don't talk. Another one of my dear friends, she took her life and her family blame me. And that's really hard. You know, it's really, really hard, because she rang me the night before the event happened and asked me to go and see her, and I could hear it in her voice. She really needed somebody. And my mum had had a bit of a heart turn, and my son that was living with me at the time was really sick, and he was just on that cusp of not being old enough to leave at home on his own. And I was packing the car, just getting organised so that I could go and see my mum the next day. Or alternately, if things go really south, to be able to get in the car that night and go over. And then when we got back, my son found her eulogy on Facebook. Oh, I tell you what, that was a really big slap. It was a really big slap. And then I was speaking to a mutual friend that has known this lady just as long as I have. And she even said herself, Tony, I suggest really strongly just give her family a wide berth. Just don't contact them. Because the first thing I tried to do was contact her son. At that stage, not realising that I was their prime target. And I suppose when things like that happen, people look for someone or somewhere to blame. And I happened to be the person that they blamed. So do I kind of blame myself with that? Yeah, I do. I do. And it's really, really hard, because I miss her dearly. She was with me with each of my boys. If anything, she held them all before I even did. And I do miss her dearly. But I'll get back to the topic I was talking about. I'll just pause for one moment. Okay, I got it right. Usually I hit the wrong button about then. Yeah. So 2 of the reasons why I moved here, they're gone. They're gone. Those reasons are gone. Finding a good reason as to why I continue on this platform. It's hard. It is hard. Because I do want to send a message of hope. I do want to support people out there. I do want to move through all the bullshit that comes into my head, and through all the traumatised things that I've been through, or traumatic things that I've been through. I want to move forward. I want to feel like a human being without this jargony shit that swims in my head 24/7, literally. And when it's swimming flat out, that's when I become suicidal. It's like, fuck it. There's no reason to be here. I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to be here anymore. And that's when I'm looking at trees whenever I'm driving, or just, things in my head that'll say things like, just swallow the pills and be done with it. Like, just get in the bath and be done with it. And that sounds terrible, I know. I know it sounds really terrible. But I did say when I first started sharing that I will be sharing from every angle and every aspect. And if anything, absolutely everything in life, that is part of what I can share. That is part of what happens in life itself. Not for everybody. Not for everybody. I've met several people that have never ever felt suicidal. Never. I nearly fell off my chair. I was like, really? You've never? And they went, no. Explain it to me. I don't know what it feels like. And for me, I can't remember the exact explanation that I gave them, but two, I asked them to explain it to me, because that was just a big one that I just could not fathom, not knowing what it felt like to not be here. And a nurse said to me one time when I was in hospital, he said, where did you expect to go? Like, what was your expectation? He said, you've shared that you were feeling suicidal, you've shared that this is what you did, hoping that you wouldn't wake up. But out of everything, where did you expect to actually wake up? And I had to answer him, I don't know. I don't know where I expected to wake up. And I still don't know. I still don't know. But it was really good food for thought. Honestly, it was really, really good food for thought. If you're wondering what I'm looking up for, I'm looking at the clock. Part of me wanted to be sarcastic then and say something like, well, you just wouldn't have watched to the end anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I don't want to start being like that on my own podcast. I don't want to be known as one to be sharing, what it is, this disgusting, debilitating bloody diagnosis that I have. Sharing what it does to me. I can definitely tell you what it doesn't do. It doesn't make me feel good about myself. It doesn't make me love myself. It doesn't give me a feeling or a sense of being honourable, or it doesn't give me a sense of anything, but I hate myself. I'm useless. I'm worthless. I'm ugly. I'm fat. And that I don't want to be here. That's what it does to me. Having those diagnoses, that's what it does to me. And it's really shitty. It really is very shitty. I have 4 beautiful young men, not boys anymore. And I've often heard of people sharing how they lost their parent to suicide. And to see the pain in their eyes and the pain in here. God, what can I say to that? I have nothing to say to that, because it's just awful. It's just awful. These are the reasons, I believe, by so many people in society to stay the hell away. Be it don't understand, be it don't want to understand, be it hear the word mental illness, and it's like sticking a crucifix in my face, I'm a fucking vampire or something. And with these scars and etc. all over my body, it's as though I've got fucking leprosy, which I haven't. They're scars. Scars are not contagious. I just feel really, really low today. Really low. I feel like I just want to lie down and cry and go to sleep. Maybe that's just what I need to do. I don't even know what to end on this. When I first started doing this, I had this great idea that I would share something funny at the end of it so that, so I'd feel a bit lighter within, and hopefully yous would feel a bit lighter within. Didn't last. I'm not going to say I ran out of things to say, but it just didn't last. Take care and reach out. Please reach out if you need help. Lifeline, Beyond Blue. There are several different places, numbers, sites that one can go to get support. Don't just sit in it. Don't. It's not worth just sitting in it. Talk to someone about it. Text me. Text me. I know how heavy and hard these topics are. I do. And I've been living with this shit all my life. Not just for a couple of years, not for a couple of months, not for a couple of days. My whole fucking life. Walking to school and walking home and not wanting to be alive when I was little. That's not normal. That's not normal. It's not. Get some help.